Hey, Brian, how's it going? I'm just taking my lunch break for work, so thought we'd jump onto a little lunch stream. I just finished my code that I was working on, created the pull request, so there was another test, and apparently there were. Oh, I did not know there was a test last night. I did see that they brought the servers. Excuse me. There were 2,900 people on, and everything went smoothly. That's good. You know, that's good. Because I was seeing stuff like, let me show you something. This is something someone sent to me, right? So there's always these people like these trolls, or you know what I mean, or people that have negative comments towards the Project Epoch team. And of course, like I said, you can't really believe anything on the internet. So just because someone says something doesn't mean it's true. So someone had sent this right here to a friend of mine saying, bro, this team put the world server and the auth server on the same system. I mean, honestly, probably not the worst thing in the world, to be honest. They left default world config settings in, only looking at them after Discord spammed them too. You know what I mean? Ripoff always comes in and says, it's cooked, man, it's cooked. It's like the same response. I love it, Ripoff. And then they added restrictions, then forgot to add complementary ones. I'm not really sure if complementary ones are basically like fallback restrictions, because I don't know how the restrictions work in Trinity Core, but the way he worded it sounds like, it sounds like a fallback. Like there's restrictions if something fails with that. There's no fallback, so it could cause an issue, but without a complementary one that it can fall back to. They tried to use round robin system. We all know that, which I think was kind of a dumb idea. They have whole blocks of code generated by AI. I would love, this isn't a conspiracy. Their GitHub is mostly open source. I would love to see areas of the code where they claim it was generated by AI. They use so many of the stock Trinity Core configuration files, it's laughable. For anyone who has any amount of experience in WoW mining or core development, it's become blatantly obvious over the past 2 days that this team is completely lost. Hold on a second. Let me check I think my mic volume might be a little bit mucked up right now. And I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I was up way too late this morning. You could just hear the music kick in when I did that. So yeah, definitely my synapse wasn't running. So yeah, I love that. For anyone who's any of my experience in WoW modding core dev, it's become blatantly obvious over the past 2 days this team is completely lost. Again, this is just some random rando saying this, so who knows? They've actually messed up so many entry-level basic things that we're not even sure this team created the servers themselves and are now trying to fix somebody else's work with no knowledge. What's up, Nox? How's it going? But I think you're trolling me. I think you're trolling me, Ripoff. Will you be able to create new characters if I have account? Yeah. I mean, Edmund, if you have an account, you can create a new character, yeah. As long as you can get into the server. I mean, good luck getting. I mean, they haven't really brought the server up. I think they brought it up last night. According to this project-epoch-status.com, the last time the server was up was actually for the Kazan anyway. It was this morning at 8:14. I'm sorry, 8:17 a.m. Of course, they're both offline now. And they did say you played 14 hours ago for 13 minutes. Oh, nice. I haven't really tried. I mean, I know that they're bringing the servers kind of up and down, but you said there was 2,300. Did it run? Hey, Nox, yeah, that's what Brian was saying, that there were 2,900 people online that actually ran pretty well. But I mean, let's be a little bit honest here. 2,300 people is not a lot of people. In fact, that's on the low end. It was smooth. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, 2,300 is smooth. I would be completely fine playing the game if there were only 2,300 people in it, just because I want to experience the new content. But again, this brings up the issue that I keep harping on over and over and over again, and that is that there's way more than 2,300 people that want to play on Kazan. So you can't just be like, oh, we're gonna have, it's good, but we're gonna like put a queue at 2,300 people. Well, you're gonna have like so many upset people because nobody wants to wait in queue for like a week to get in. You know what I mean? Like, Plus, it gets to the point when you only have that many people that are allowed to be in queue. People will do whatever they can to even when they're not in the game to make sure that their computer doesn't disconnect them from the game. You know what I mean? They'll be like doing all kinds of stuff, like using mouse scripts, different things to make sure, whether they have like you know, a homemade solution with a fulcrum, like with a hand bouncing up and down to hit the mouse button. You know what I mean? You've seen those funny things. But I'm just saying, people are going to do whatever they can to make sure they don't get disconnected, even when they're not playing. So my point being that, hey, if they can only get the servers to run with 2,500 people, I'm fine with that, as long as they bring up more servers, right? Don't make us wait in queue for 10 hours, Not to mention, people in the queue pinging the server constantly for the updates actually causes latency on the server as well. So they did, Blizzard implemented some stuff that prevented that ripoff. Like Blizzard implemented stuff where if your character was just running straight in a straight line for a long time, it would just disconnect you. So you had to be doing something relevant. Yeah. But we'll see. One of the reasons I wanted to have this lunch stream is they had actually said on the Discord that, um, oops, they had actually said on the Discord that there was going to be an update, right? They'd ban me and others. Oh, Val's is saying that any criticism on their official server will get you banned or removed. So, you know, I actually did do that one post that I thought might get me banned or at least temporary banned, but it didn't. And I wasn't trying to be super cruel. I was trying to be comical. Where is it? It was this post I did on their server, and this was on the 28th, 2 days ago, where I posted. I said, "I say this with great humor, an effort to bring some levity to this chaos. So don't ban me." And I said, "Project Epoch is," and I said, "the infinite loop architects, DevOps, more like DevOps, the debug log Avengers, the TypeScript leads, and the full stack overflow." I thought that might get me like a timeout or a ban, but it didn't. It didn't, which so at least they have a sense of humor. Do I have it turned off? Oh god. What do I have turned off? I don't even know. What do you mean? Oh, the alert. I had the alert turned off, yeah. It was turned on. I don't know how it got turned off. But I mean, honestly, I haven't really been trying to play the game anyway, so you know what I mean? So this does update automatically. The alert just means it's some sort of like audio alert, I guess. Yeah, thanks, Beely. Yeah, I did have it turned on at one point. I don't know how it's possible. I think I closed the window and maybe reopened it, or who knows, man. I'm doing 10,000 different things on my computer all the time, so yeah. So when we hear that, the servers are but yeah, I am streaming, Vals. I am streaming, bro. Thanks, Beely. Got the gear in the upper right. Yeah. Thanks, Brian. Yeah. Delayed update to tell update is delayed. Delayed update. Yeah. Like here, I've had some pretty interesting posts on their forums. What was this one? Here's a post I did on their forum 3 days on the 27th, where I said I've played a lot of private servers and I seriously appreciate the effort of the project Epoch team. I'm also a supporter of the GitHub project, as I think you all should be, but I really feel the best thing to do right now is figure out the performance issues and spin up one more PvE, no cross-faction realm, and do a reset, start over. Now, this was 3 days ago. I think this would be the most positive move for the project, and I do still agree with that. I do still think that they need to do a reset. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have people, because there's people out there that have 2 or even 3 characters at level 15. And that and level 15 is not a big deal, but I mean, if you have three characters at level 15, and let's say you've maxed out their professions, of course, at level 15, you can only go so high, right? But if you've maxed out three different characters with three different sets of professions, you've got a pretty big leg up on someone who hasn't played at all. You know what I mean? That's a pretty big leg up. I mean, you're talking, that's a good, that could be a good like 6 to 10 hours at least, maybe more. You see, get some guys with 50 plus gold. PvE or PvP realm? Oh, I'm definitely going with the PvE realm. Just simply because when it's a fresh server launch, right? When it's a fresh server launch and I'm trying to level like my first character to 60 and to get some gold because you don't have any gold, you don't have anything because it's a fresh server. I don't really like to level PvP just because it kind of slows me down. It just slows down my progress, which I don't really care for. Plus, I tend to level characters that are kind of meme specs. I do like Melee Hunter, I do Protection Paladin, and those specs really aren't that great in PvP. But don't get me wrong, I love PvP. I've done thousands and thousands. I've probably done 25, 30,000 arena matches in WoW over the years. So I certainly have done my time on PvP. But yeah, I enjoy the PvE. I think it's because I'm older. I just enjoy getting into like having like goals that I want to do and just leveling up and not worrying too much about PvP until I get to like the point where I feel like I want to PvP. Like if I get to like level 25 or 30 and I want to start doing WSG, I'll queue up WSG. You know what I mean? So. Plus, I mean, I got to be honest. The PvP community can be a bit toxic, and being that I'm older, I don't have the patience for little kitties. So if kitties want to be toxic, I just want to bring out a sledgehammer and smash their skull on the ground and, and watch the blood, run across the pavement. But yeah, it's all good though. You just want to play because you're only playing. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. If you're only going to be playing like short term. Yeah. You'll only be playing like short term. For me, like if Project Epoch is really good, I plan on playing long term. So, and from what I can tell, you can see that the population on Kazan is like easily almost double that of Garabashi. So I'd rather be on a server that has more people anyway. And so there's not really going to be any issues with, doing PvP and battle rounds and arena and stuff like that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, Val, you've been so outright with a lot of people's criticism. It's interesting that they like stopped, that they like blocked the general chat because there was so much, I think, negative feedback or negative, lash or negative clap back at them, so to speak. But we'll see. I think one of the things I'm really interested in seeing is how much more difficult is the content. They kind of said that they wanted to make just the leveling content or the basic like dungeons and just mobs in general like a little bit more difficult, which I really hope they do. I think that's one of the biggest problems with MMOs. It has been a big problem in my mind for MMOs for a long time. The thing is, MMOs when they first came out, it was like they were so new. Like people hadn't really played MMOs, so people were really enjoying just the concept of an MMO, the concept of having like a digital game that you could get into and play with your friends and do quests and progress. But then it got to a point where that just doesn't cut it anymore, and the progression was just too easy and it became rudimentary. And I think it's never ever really been fixed to a certain degree. Like in fact, in some ways, it's actually gotten worse. You'll play some MMOs. Some MMOs will come out and I mean the leveling content is like, it's just kind of a stepping stone to get to endgame. There's really nothing to it. In fact, it's so boring that it's by far the most unenjoyable aspect of the game. And I think that we need to go completely do a 180 on that, and we need to focus on making the leveling way more difficult, way more challenging, because the more difficult the task, the more satisfaction you have once you surpass that task, or once you complete that task and reach the next leg up. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Volst. I'm like a more of a hardcore player. I enjoy like really, really difficult content. I'm very much against too much loot. I'm also very much against magic being common. I'm very old school. Like I played D&D back in high school in the 80s, and for me, like we've never really seen an MO that really plays the way I want it to play. Like I think to me, like like if I'm a level 1 warrior, like a big upgrade for me would be going from a cracked rusty sword to like just a copper sword that isn't cracked. That would be a big upgrade. Maybe my next big upgrade would be going to a long sword that's made by a decent blacksmith, and that would make maybe one of the things that would be really good would be able to apprentice a blacksmith, to become an apprentice blacksmith, and just so I can make a better quality weapon that does a tiny bit more damage. That would be like a big upgrade. And make that difficult. Like make becoming an apprentice hard. Make it challenging. Make it take time. Plus one sword should be incredibly rare. And that's, again, I've always felt like that's one of the biggest problems with MMOs is they just throw too much at you too fast, and you get people think that they get like the dopamine effect, like, oh, look at this amazing weapon. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Expected in 15 minutes will servers go up? I don't know. Is it going to be in 15 minutes? Man, I have to blow my nose. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Oh my God, sorry. I'm just been congested. I think I've gotten so little sleep the last week that I think I'm getting sick. They had to pay ChatGPT Pyramid just to write the code, huh? We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ripoff. I mean, anytime they say there's going to be an update and it takes them a long time to put it out, that's them trying to sugarcoat something. That basically means you're not getting the servers anytime soon, but we're working on it. You're not going to get it anytime soon, but hey, we're working on it. Hmm. You hate the no gear database and how K wants the information gatekeep? Actually, I 100% like that. You hate the no gear. So you're saying you don't like the fact that he wants to keep? No, I actually agree with that 100%, Logan. I agree with K Totes. I don't think any of the information should be released. I mean, that kind of takes away from the joy of like discovering. Did you say? Oh, it takes away the joy of discovery. Like what I'm saying is, I don't like it when everything's already known. It's very difficult in today's world to keep stuff hidden, right? Like it's people like do the data mining and all that, but the mystery and not knowing what items drop or not knowing where they're going to drop and not knowing where quests are, all that stuff. I mean, it's all going to be found out eventually anyway. So enjoy the fact that for now it's a mystery, because eventually it won't be. But I spent time last night going through game development, and I've been wanting to kind of start working on my own game development projects for a long time. I've been writing code for I guess since I was 15. So when was that? Let's see, 85, 50. Oh my God, 40 years ago. I started writing code 40 years ago. How old does that make me? Old, right? There are fan-made databases already. Yeah, I won't use any of that stuff. I'm not going to go to any website that tells me how to do anything in Epoch. You know what I mean? 55. I'm 55. I won't go into any kind of like databases that tell me. I mean, that's the whole point. Is like the whole point in an MMO. And the reason like new MMOs, when new MMOs launch, that they're so fun is because you don't know everything, right? Like as long as they didn't do like open betas, because if they do a bunch of open betas, like too many, then of course it depends on how much content they have. If they do an open beta, they just say, well, we're gonna let you play the game from 1 to 10, but the max level 60. Well, then you still really aren't gonna know much about the game, but you'll learn the basic concepts. I would never like to see open betas go past like level 10 in any game, to be honest. Um, because I just think it just exposes too much of the game. But the reason when you first play an MMO it feels so good is because people are nice to each other. Why do you think people are nice to each other on a new MMO? The reason they're nice to each other is because they don't know everything. Like, what happens in an MMO once everybody knows when all the questions are answered, everybody knows how to defeat the bosses or get to max level, everybody knows everything, then everybody becomes a dick. Everybody's a dick. You like if you go into general chat and you don't know everything because maybe you came into the game a year after it was been out and you say, hey, how do I do this? What kind of answers do you think you're going to get? You're going to get snarky, stupid-ass comments from adolescent children. You know what I mean? Now, if you ask that same question on day one of the MMO's release, you would actually get honest responses because nobody knows and everybody wants to know. So they're going to say, oh, I don't know. How do you do that? I sure would like to know that as well, right? So the more information you can keep, the more information you can keep hidden, the better. It's way more funny. Yeah, it's way more funny when nobody knows what's going on. When I played Lineage 2, when Lineage 2 first came out, like a lot of the quests and stuff weren't completely done. You know what I mean? They weren't completely done, so the quest texts were hilarious. He'd be like, hey, I want you to go over past this monument and look for this guy. And that was literally look at this shit. And that was literally, look, Epoch, me. This guy should just get banned for that. I would ban him for that. The message was removed, but I would just ban him for that. But what I'm saying is, the quests are really funny because they were just so vague and rare. Like go past, like you see this tower or like south of here, a couple clicks down the road. Go over there and look for some guy named Bob. That would be all the quest would say. Trying to fish Ashbringer. But like I said, again, it's I've kind of theory crafted like how could I make my own MMO that would be able to kind of hide and obscure all the information. How could we make an MMO that when people do quests that they don't just tell their buddy how to do it? You would have to dynamically change. Let's say there was a quest where you had to go find something, right? Where that location of that something would have to change. And one of the things I thought of, and it really was influenced, and a lot of my thoughts about making my own MMO are influenced by Michael Moorcock, the author of, the Stormbringer novels and stuff like that, Elric. I always thought that a dynamic world based on planes of existence that shifted constantly would be a really interesting foundation for an MMO because of the fact that everything that changes all the time, right? So you couldn't just be like, oh, hey, I went over here to kill this guy to get this item because over there isn't always there. It changes. So that would be like, if I made an MMO, I would definitely do some sort of like a kind of like a Stormbringer, like the Young Kingdoms type of universe. Is the update? How do you guys know the update's coming? Oh, here we go, update. Holy moly, this is a big one. As promised, we'd like to share a more detailed technical update. Oh, of course, technical update regarding the current state of the server and the steps we're actively taking to improve it. Team expansion or restructure. We mentioned the launch council we've assembled to help us. We have about 12 folks from across the community with different skill sets and talents assisting us. Assisting the core Epoch team, we've split into two different groups to focus on different options for expanding serviceability. One group is our optimization team focused on performance improvements. The other group is our multi-realm team focused on exploration of other options to support large player count. Yes, multi-realm. You need more servers. We knew Project Epoch was going to be popular based on increasing number of players joining our Discord and creating accounts. We were blown away by over 30,000 instantaneous live connections at launch. Our main goal is simply ensuring serviceability for the massive number of players online and in queues. In the span of 36 hours, members of our team have successfully completed migrating both the core and the database infrastructure to Linux. Well, I don't know why they would go to Linux. I don't know if it's the performance is better. The reason we didn't do this is really simple. Our core just didn't work properly on Linux. We wrongly assumed our Windows Server configuration would scale from player demand. The launch has proven otherwise. As a result, we were building key tools on the fly to run in a Linux environment. This type of dashboard has never been done before. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research on this. I'm not really sure how much benefit it's gonna give them, but we'll see. This type of dashboard has never been done before. We have the right people in place to support. Our Linux conversion is still experimental. Oh, great. Let's just take the whole the infrastructure of the servers and just throw it into a completely different operating system. It almost sounds like they're just doing this not only to improve performance, but also to give them a clear way of saying, hey, we're not going to have anything out soon, so you guys are going to have to wait. And then this is why. Like, this is why. Like, everybody's going to be like, it's like dangling the carrot. You know, they're dangling a carrot in front of us. Like, this is what we're doing. It's going to be good, but you got to keep, you know what I mean? It could, you know, it feels almost like smoke and mirrors, but who knows? Maybe, you know, hopefully they're. I'm a little surprised by this. This seems like, you know, this isn't ever done. It just feels like this is a big pivot. It's like a big pivot. Like, is this necessary? You know, our Linux version is still experimental, but with the switch to Debian, we'll be able to use important tools essential to maintaining scalability and performance. I need to talk to Fox. Okay, let's talk to Fox. Because he worked at BattleNet. I'm going to send this to Fox, and I want to ask him what he thinks, okay? Where's Foxy? Oh, he just said it. About here. Foxy actually just responded. What do you make of this, Foxy? So Foxy used to work for BattleNet, so he actually has some experience in scalability of servers, like server scalability. So I'm curious what he's going to think of this. Actually, it's not going to work. This. Yeah, that's interesting that he just started typing because I hadn't talked to him since he joined the server, but I'm really curious to see what Foxy says because Foxy expressed concerns that what they were trying to do with multi-threading wasn't going to scale correctly and they would actually cause issues. So, whole Microsoft Azure is on Linux, scaling Windows is a joke. Yeah. I mean, we have Azure servers for our stuff, and I'm not really impressed with Azure, to be honest, but all right, so Linux version is still experimental. Performance and memory sanitizing and thread sanitizing without needing the core to be built in debug mode. Okay, that's an advantage. There's a lot of modding community knowledge and performance optimizations in Linux, and we're engaged with developers who are experts in this topic. This is a major leap forward. Windows Server configuration is not the only challenge we're facing. We've already identified one major issue related to the database, and we're in the process of fixing it. However, we're still facing memory-related issues, which require deeper analysis that simply wasn't realistic until we had access to the tools. Our long-term goal is for each ROM to simply support 500 to 7,000, which I think is good. I think 5,000. I did 500. 5,000 to 7,000, I think, is a good. I mean, really, when Blizzard first launched their servers, that's what they were shooting for, was 3,500 to about 5,000. 3,500 to 5,000 connections was their sweet spot. I mean, you could tell that the zones weren't meant for that many people. Like when you get past like 6,000, it starts to get crowded. If you get past like 7,000, it really starts to get crowded. Once you hit about 9,000 or 10,000 people on a server, it just really feels kind of jam-packed, especially if they're, a lot of them in the same areas. We know this won't happen overnight, but that's the bar we're aiming for. That was the optimizations team's update. The multi-realm team, since our team is so big now, we can't all work on optimizations in time. For this reason, we've created a second task group to rapidly develop an experimental backup solution that would allow us to split our current realms into sub-realms. So this is almost like layering, really, right? As a temporary measure, in case of optimizations are not sufficient to meet our concurrent player goal in a reasonable time frame. So they want us to split the realms into sub-realms. This is going to be like sharding, so... Which is kind of what Foxy was talking about yesterday, was he's saying that they probably should follow Blizzard's path and try to basically come up with, sharding it, breaking it. You guys have seen this. This has been around MMOs for a long time. If you ever played, even Ion, if you ever play original Ion or even Black Desert Online, you know how you can switch channels? You'd be like, oh, I'm in channel 1, just go to channel 2. That's all that is. It's just another instance of the server. You're not in the exact same server as your buddy, right? You might be, like if the server name was Shady Vale, it might be Shady Vale Channel 1, Shady Vale Channel 2, Channel 3. Depending on which channel you are, you can only see people that are in that channel. But you're all technically still a part of the Shady Vale server, right? Because you can switch back and forth. So, I mean, sharding, subrealms, I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. This would involve introducing secondary versions of existing realms. See, Kazan 2. Think of 2 as Channel 2. Garibashi and Garibashi 2, Channel 2. These realm pairs would share character and guild name portals and would function as a tied realm. This is intended as a strictly temporary solution once player count stabilize. The realms will be merged back together. Further details of how this would work and character copies and how this would work from player perspective will be provided if we decide to go this route over the next few days. I mean, all this sounds like no matter what they do, I don't think we're going to be playing Project Epoch anytime soon, right? It is possible that despite our efforts, we hit a hard scalability roadblock, meaning we're no longer able to raise the online cap. If we continue to see significant logging queues, we aren't finally they have said this. But I mean, to me, third realm, they may need 4 realms, you know? We aren't ruling out opening a 3rd realm. If we chose this option, the team would handle spinning up the new realm, this team. In conclusion, as we mentioned in our previous update, we're actually working with experienced developers from across the WoW mining scene to help push all of this forward. Every hour brings progress, and we're confident these steps will lead to a stable and scalable future for the server. We don't have a specific timeline of when the server will be. Of course you don't, because this sounds like it's going to be months. But we'll bring it online periodically for testing. This sounds like months to me. I mean, honestly, I don't see them bringing up anything for months that was going to be smooth. That's going to give us a smooth experience, right? I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but this looks like months. But we're bringing it up online periodically for testing. We continue to update it. This sounds like months, man. Where's the thumb? I'm going to give the thumbs down. Look, even K-Totes gave it a thumbs down. You see that? Even K-Totes gave it a thumbs down. I love how K-Totes gave it a thumbs down. He's probably the one who created the different ones. He just created the ones for us to click. Took 2 or 3 days to figure out multi-threading. Oh, man. Foxy's typing. I'm just going to say, it sounds like months worth of work to maybe not find a real solid resolution. Only the mods could add, yeah, that's what I figured. It's just, yeah, I knew the mods only they could add it, so. Man. 3 realms, 3 to 4. I mean, I think, but that's fine, right? I mean, Logan, that would be okay, right? I mean, 3,000 to 4,000 people on a server is plenty of people to play, so I would be fine with that. I think that's fine. I don't think. I mean, if they put up like 4 servers that could handle like 3,000 people each, I'm sure they would all be maxed, right? If they put up 4 servers that could only handle 3,000 each, which is fine, I'm sure they would all be full of players because 3,000 is plenty. I've played on servers that only have 1,000 people, and that's still plenty. You don't need a lot of people to experience the content. I would say that at least 1,000 is what you would like. I mean, I would like to see more than that, especially if you keep it even, like 1,000 on each, 1,000 horde, 1,000 lines. Yeah, I agree, Valson. I've always felt that was probably the best. Yeah, I've always felt like that was the best short-term, solution. So I'm just waiting to see what Foxy's got to say because he's typing away. I'm just really surprised that they're pivoting to Linux because I'm not really sure. I don't know much about we could ask ChatGPT, I guess, like is it common for Azeroth, or sorry, for Trinity Core? Is it never? I don't know. I mean, I've never really looked. Now, of course, I think that ChatGPT always likes to answer yes to no matter what you ask it. Have you ever asked ChatGPT a question where it was a yes or no response where it said no? Like, yes, it's very common for Trinity Core emulation servers to be run on Linux. In fact, Linux is often the preferred choice among serious and high-performance private server operators. Lower overhead, more consistent performance, better I/O input-output handling stability. Linux servers, just the basic stuff you would expect from Linux, right? Downsides of using Windows for Trinity Core, more memory. Can you... Oh, they give you a yes or no only? Here we go. Azeroth core-based project, Forks of Trinity. Confirmed in multiple dev posts on GitHub. So these projects are running Azeroth core in Linux, but only use case official development testing. So I don't see, they say the Trinity core public test drums are in Linux, but no projects. It says Warmain, unofficial but likely. Project Warmain. Engine is a highly modified Trinity core fork. OS most likely Linux, but it's not confirmed, right? Their scale, thousands of concurrent players, almost requires Linux for performance and reliability. So they're claiming they believe Warmain is, I mean, ChatGPT thinks it is, but it can't confirm that, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, you got to give them credit. I mean, I certainly don't. Again, I've always said this. You know, this is a free private server project. They don't owe us anything. It's not like we're paying for it. Although I am sponsoring the project. But yeah, I mean, I lost the hype. Honestly, I lost the hype like 2 days ago. I mean, I still want to play it, and I'm still excited to play Project Epoch, but I'm looking for other things to do. I'm not looking to play Project Epoch. I'm not like this website here. I'm not like looking at this. Like I look at this like once or twice a day, and that's it. I just look to see when's the last time the server was up. Because I know when they bring it up, they're just going to bring it back down anyway for testing. So I'm not actively trying to like, oh, I'm going to jump in for 30 minutes. Who cares? Why would I want to play for 30 minutes? I don't want to play an MMO for 30 minutes and get booted. You know, I'm not. That's not what I'm all about. So. No, that's not me. So. Yeah. Well, what they're trying to do is you lost the hype too. I mean, again, I'm looking for alternate things to do. You know, I mean, I'm looking at game development probably. I mean, until some other MMO comes out that that is worth playing, I'm probably not going to be spending a lot of time in MMOs over the next few days. I'll probably be spending more of my time doing some game development stuff, just learning game development, maybe just brushing up on C++, some stuff, things I've been wanting to do for years, I just haven't done. So the reason I haven't done them is because there's always a game I wanted to play. But now, right now, there really isn't a game that I'm super stoked to play. So since I have the free time, I'll start doing other stuff, you know. You just wanted to gate nerds in Ashenvale? Yeah, well, we probably will be able to eventually, hopefully. Eventually, right?
To be pretty much API agnostic. Obviously, some things are going to have to be API specific. It's not like we can just write a function called upload texture and then implement that.
I'm a big fan of the Cherno's YouTube channel. He actually, and I was watching these videos. I watched this video when he first put this out, designing our game engine. This was 6 years ago. What was really interesting is he put out a video, I think within the last couple days, right? Which is really cool. So, and his video was, let's see, where is it? Actually, I don't see it. Here it is, this one. This was actually 2 months ago? I didn't realize it was 2 months ago. I thought it was more recent, but...
Property into a nice little... Hazel, the game engine that I've been working on for the last 7 years or so is going to be free. And
so, this guy worked for... oh, God, he worked for one of the game companies. I can't remember the one. It's the big EA Sports. He worked for EA Sports working on game engines. And then... he started designing his own game engine about 6 or 7 years ago, and then he eventually quit EA Sports because he became big enough as a YouTuber just to support his income through YouTube. And it's pretty awesome. He's got some great series on his channel. I mean, you can see here his game engine stream. His game engine series has 123 individual different videos in it, and he's got all kinds of series on his channel. So if you're interested in game development or just C++ programming, he's a pretty cool guy, and definitely someone to follow. All right. Yeah, see, Foxy. I was curious to see what Foxy said. It's unbelievable. I think they were definitely out of their depth. I wonder in what context does he mean by this. As a result, we are rebuilding the key tools on the fly to run in Linux. The team or themselves haven't done this type of adaptation before because many servers and their tools are running in Linux environments. It's definitely going to be mostly worth. I see there's no mention of multi-threading anymore. Maybe someone has echoed my concerns, and Trinity Core is not built for that. It's possible. But why re-architect the framework? I don't really know what's the point of these daily updates now. We know they're massively unprepared. Now they're yeah. It feels like this update was just meant to give hope, and at the same time deflect people. I just think it was meant like trying to say, oh yeah, we're working on it, we're doing all these great things, but at the same time saying, oh, we're gonna write it in Linux and it's gonna be even better. But we've never done that before, so it's gonna take some time. Well, yeah. They have no knowledge of, in fact, they have no knowledge of running in Linux. So it's like you're completely pivoting to a different server backbone for your whole project. Now, I don't know how long that's going to take, but that's a significant like paradigm shift in how you're going to, how you're going to develop for your server. So, and then like what Foxy's saying here, as a result, we were rebuilding key tools on the fly to run in a Linux environment. He's like, I wonder what that means. It's like, yeah, I wonder what you mean. Like, what tools? Like, you shouldn't really have to rebuild any tools, although they do have, with their way that I'm trying to remember with Nogget, which is what they use to develop some of the assets. I mean, maybe there's some stuff with Nogget, or, which runs inside of like a custom Blender, version. Not a custom Blender version, a specific Blender version. It's, I think, a plug-in to Blender. I think you have to be on 3.4 version of Blender to run Nogget, but there are different pieces, like TypeScript WoW, for example. Who knows if TypeScript WoW works the same way developing for Trinity Core when it's run in Linux versus run in Windows? Who knows? I mean, I would think it would be fine, but I don't know. Hey, Brian, what's up? Do you want to work on Magix tutorials together? Is there another new update? No, we just looked at the update. Oh, there's another one. Regarding 5,000 to 7,000 player cap, I see that you're panicking about that. I don't think anyone's panicking about this. I mean, I think 5,000 to 7,000 is completely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with 5,000. In fact, I'm happy with that. I don't want to be. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be on a server that's got more than 7,000 people because really it's too many. Like if you're making resources and crafting a prominent system in the game, which they should be, right? Which they should be, and they should also be really prominently placed in the economy. Then you need the resources to be not super easy to get. I mean, and if you have like 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 people on the server, you know how hard they're going to have to like increase the respawn rate of all the resources. And what that means is there's more resources in the auction house, which means the prices of things go down. In my opinion, it ruins the economy. So, personally myself, I would love to see their servers be capped at 5,000. You know what I mean? I think 5,000 would be great. I think 5,000 cap would be fine. I mean, again, because I don't want to have too many people going around the world getting all the resources. You're either going to be fighting people for resources or they're going to have to spin up the respawn rates so much so that the resources become so plentiful that they're not really worth anything. So it really hurts the profession for crafters as far as making money off, like ore and herbs and stuff like that. I mean, they can make money on other things, but still, I'm not a fan of that. So the number I have given was conceived not due to technical limitations because we believe we will be able to hold more once we have finally get things up and running. There's nothing wrong with this number. This is a good number. I think, again, I'm not a fan of seeing more than 7,000 people in a vanilla WoW private server. We simply don't want Azeroth to be overcrowded to the point you're not able to pick. Look. He's basically saying what I'm saying. We don't want Azeroth to become overcrowded to the point you're not able to pick up herbs or get Devil Sword leather, because that's what happens when you get too many people on the server. Good luck trying to go to Ungor Crater and get Devil Sword leather when there's like, a whole. I mean, there was a whole guild on Skull Rock on the hardcore server. There was a whole guild called it was called the Devil Sword Bandits or Devil Sword Pirates or something, Devil Sword Leather Pirate Company or something, and they completely controlled Ungoro Crater. Like, you could not go to Ungoro Crater and get Devil Sword Leather. They basically had full-time 24/7 coverage of that map. where they killed all the devil swords. So if you went there and tried to kill them, they would do what they could to stop you. So if you get to a server that's overcrowded, what happens is that type of stuff's going to happen, right? That type of stuff will happen. Currently, I believe it's better to have a smaller player cap. Yeah, he's 100% right. Keito's here. I'm going to respond here. Keito's 100% right. We simply don't have blah, 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 a smaller player cap. Currently, we believe it's better to have a smaller player cap with the possibility to spin up cross-realm support for battlegrounds, arenas, and possibly dungeons without Dungeon Finder, of course. But we're going to listen to your opinions, do whatever is necessary to keep you in Azeroth. I mean, honestly, I don't think they need to. Again, I don't think he needs to do what's necessary to keep people in Azeroth. Yeah, I don't know. I can't edit this. I mistyped. If you don't understand, wow, you don't understand. I actually mistyped that. I've said if you don't understand this, you don't understand. That was a typo. Can I edit? You can't even like edit your own message, which makes sense because you're on like a literally like 2-hour post, whatever. But which kind of sucks. But anyways. Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, I think let me check to see when my lunch break's over. It's probably going to be over here in a couple minutes. I got to get back to work. Always interesting, right? These lunch streams are always interesting. Especially, it's kind of nice that the last couple of lunch streams I've had, they've actually put out updates during my lunch stream. So we had something to talk about. Yeah, but I've been looking at something to do, development-wise. What is this? Pending. What the hell is this? No, they got Epoch. They just want to... Yeah. Yeah, like they know it's your lunch break. I wish I was that important that they're like, hey, caffeine injected streaming on his lunch break. Let's put out an update just for him. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, wouldn't that be cool? Who is Havamal? Oh, he's the one who gave me the product status. I don't want to do a website. No, I'm not going to develop a website around Project Epoch. And I write websites for a living, so I'm certainly not going to spend my time away from work writing websites. The only thing I'm going to be doing is oh, this Ryan. Oh, you want to? Yeah, I'm not going to do a website around. I'm not going to do a website around Project Epoch. I mean, I actually want to do a website around my own project. I actually let's see. You guys want to see something really funny? Actually, I don't know if I want to show you that. That might be a little bit too much. Here. Let's see if I've got... This is a document that I was putting down. This is something that I came up with years ago. And this is just kind of like some concepts I had for a video game that I would like to make, an MMO that I would like to make someday. This is like a work in progress. um, races, core gaming systems. And it's interesting because this is old. This is old. I mean, this document was made. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see a timestamp on here, but this was a long time ago. Currently I'm in phase 1, concept phase, phase 2, exists vertical slice, background story, the races of the game. I only had a few races currently. Normal life, life systems. I called basically life systems, core advanced systems, elemental magic, cybernetic, divine, or demonic. And then crafting, the goal of the game, the goal of the project, product time, other technical stuff. There's just whatever. It was just kind of like me, like kind of storyboarding in my brain. Like if I was going to make an MMO, what would I do? But wow, there is so much out there. Like for game development, like some of my favorite YouTube channels, because there's quite a few of them out there, but Grand Abbott's one of my favorites. He just does really, really good videos on Blender, and he covers a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff that's game design type stuff. But he does really cool stuff. But he does a lot of like low poly stuff. He'll do stuff on like building character models, like stylized character models. Building like low poly trees. In fact, I think I did this one. Let's see, long time ago. I don't know where I would have put it though. Let's see, Blender files, maybe? Blender projects, maybe? It doesn't look like it loaded. It doesn't look like, oh, look, it looks like it hung. Maybe because that version of Blender that I used to create that tree was probably so long ago. It just crashed it. Like, you made this too long ago, right? Yeah, I think that's the... Oh, no, it did load. It did load. It just took a long time. So, this is just... I was kind of following his, Grant's, like, little kind of video on making, like, low poly trees, and that's kind of what I came up with. I haven't used Blender in a long time, so I don't even remember the... I don't even remember how to use Blender. It's been a long time since I've used Blender. We're in object mode. How do I go back to... Anyways, but that was pretty cool. I thought that was a nice looking low poly tree. But Grant does a lot of really, really good videos on character rigging, character animations, sculpting. He's also got a lot of tutorials you can follow on Udemy if you ever want to like buy any of his stuff. He's got series as well, like some series on stuff. But really good channel. But you start thinking about the game development. There's like so much to game development. It's like, where do you want to begin? I mean, do you want to go into Unreal Tournament and learn Unreal Tournament? I certainly would never learn Unity, because I think Unity is a steaming pile of dog shit, because the company behind Unity is greedy, the greediest fucks on the planet. So you don't use Unity. Those guys are greedy bastards. But just learning Unreal is daunting, like, because it's a pretty massive thing to learn. So I'm not, actually, that's cool. I actually been kind of... partial to, I think it was I like Mixamo. Mixamo was bought out by Adobe. But the cool thing about Mixamo is you can create like a character model in Blender. And let's see if I've got my login here. It's just your Adobe login. Hold on while I crack into the password vault, which is protected by layers and layers of encryption. Sweet, sweet that. But you go into Mixamo, and the cool thing here is you can create like your character models in Blender, and you can just upload them into Mixamo, and then you can basically apply whatever animation you want. And the cool thing about these animations is you can modify them. Like, let's say you want to do like a longbow, you know, this longbow locomotion, which is basically just a character walking around with a longbow. I don't know why it's not showing the actual longbow here. Maybe it didn't load. But see here, you can upload your character. Then you basically apply the animation, and then once you apply the animation to your character model, you can tweak it. Right now, it's not working for some reason. Maybe I need to grab a model. Like here you can see how you can do the direction of the dying. You can do the space. I mean, you can move your arms further apart. See, move the arms really close together. So there's some settings, you know, and there's a lot of these, you know. There's quite a few. I mean, you can see there's like over 26 pages of animations. It's really so you can basically upload your character model, get some basic animations, and then you can apply them. And I've actually done this before. I've actually created character models in Blender, and then you know, pulled them in here, and then added like an animation, and then you basically download the animation as like a certain type of format that Unreal Engine can use. Then you go into Unreal Engine, and you add your character to Unreal Engine, then you add your animations, and then you know, and you attach them. And I've actually done that, and it actually worked out fairly well. So yeah, so I like Mixamo. And then of course, Unreal has their own character generator. I can't remember what it's called. I've done, you know, if you go to my other YouTube channel, I actually have another YouTube channel that was for game development. I just don't really use it that much because I haven't been doing anything on it. Oh wow, there's like, where's the videos here? I guess they're all lives. Right here. So Unreal has the MetaHuman character creator, so you can go into the MetaHuman character creator and do stuff, you know. So I did a video just kind of talking. This was like, when was this? This was like 4 years ago. What other videos have I done? Sample Unity Combat, discussions, observations. I wonder if I discussed. Let's see. Yeah, and here you can see Grand Abbott. I was actually going to Grand Abbott, create a low poly person in Blender. So, and this was actually a game that this guy that I met, who's a really cool guy, actually had a game that he made, and it's like a Souls-like Unity 3D game. And I actually purchased it from him. It was like $5 or something, and I actually was going in there and playing it, and it was pretty cool actually. But yeah, there's so much cool stuff about game development, though. It's just crazy. You know, it's just, I get, because I want to do everything, and I'm the kind of person who has a hard time focusing. I'm like ADHD or something. Like, I have a hard time focusing. So when I try to do stuff like game development, it's like the biggest challenge in the world for me because I have a hard time focusing. Like, it's hard enough for me at work just to focus on getting my development tickets done. Because I just get, you know, I'm like that person that's like, oh, squirrel, you know, somebody's, you know, squirrel runs across the window or something, and I'm like distracted, you know. So I get distracted really easy. That's why when I'm streaming and I'm playing an MMO and people are talking to me, I'm like, oh, totally like forgetting shit. And why try and increase the cap? Just scale the world servers horizontally instead of like that. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is the exact same thing I was saying. See, he's saying just scale the world servers horizontally. So instead of fighting the player cap, just put up a bunch of servers. Rather than rewriting core systems to handle more concurrent players, which risks introducing race conditions, crashes, treat this as an infrastructure problem. Use container orchestration to manage multiple world server instances automatically. World server layer 1 hits capacity 2K players. Layer manager service spins up world server layer 2 using, what is K8s? K8s or Nomad. So this is cool. Players auto-assigned to the layer with available capacity, cross-layer features like global chat. That all works. You need a developer to layer manage. You need to develop the layer managed service API, but this isn't difficult. Just requires a bit of knowledge, understanding, write it in Go, Python, etc. I know there's a lot of hate for Blizzard for layering, but would you rather play the game? Would you have several layers at the start? Make it, yeah, no. This is kind of what I was thinking. I mean, the original. Yeah, I agree with this. I mean, just the problem. I mean, this is really just like when you first try to when you first try to learn programming or something, or you first try to do something in game development, for example. The common problem that most people make is they try to do too much. So it's like, oh, my first game is going to be an MMO. Well, that's obviously not the way to go. You need to start small and do very small little things that are going to work. And it sounds like to me they're trying to solve what's a good analogy? I mean, you're to trying to drive the nail in with a sledgehammer, right? You know, you don't need to pivot this hard. You know, like yeah, I mean, Chris has reinvented the wheel, but I mean, you don't need to do that. Like, so I don't know. And what was interesting is that the player is. Let's get that second post. This just shows you how badly the player base doesn't understand how the WoW world was originally designed. You have to keep in mind that all the zones and all the quests and everything was focused around a certain amount of numbers of players. And it was never designed to handle like 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 players. And by going to that extreme of having all those other players, you know, it does affect the game in negative ways. People think it's cool because like, oh, it's cool. The more players, the better. But that's not necessarily true. There was like another document. I don't really want to read this whole document to you guys, but let's see if I can find it. So where's my drive? Uh, I had done a document on, like, remember when they were doing EverQuest 2? When they were doing EverQuest 2, they actually asked people to write in their EverQuest stories, like experiences they'd had in EverQuest 1. I don't really remember why they were doing that. They were just asking, and I actually put together an EverQuest story and sent it in to Sony Online Entertainment. And I'd never played EverQuest 1, so this is my EverQuest story. And it was good. It was one hell of a good, well written piece of literature. And it was good enough that I actually got a response from Sony Online Entertainment where they were actually asking me if I was going to show up at their event. Unfortunately, I couldn't because I had a work thing where we were releasing some of our websites to production that same weekend. I was like, there's no way I'm getting out of that to fly out to California. But I thought it was really cool that Sony Online Entertainment, one of their community people, contacted me directly and was asking me if I was going to be there. They said that they had read my EverQuest story and that they really enjoyed it. So I thought that was really cool. Um, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, guys, I gotta head back to work. What about the Discord? Did they say something else? Oh, you messaged me? What's my Discord? Oh, you don't have the Discord? It is... Here's the Discord. Feel free to join the Discord, but if anybody says anything that I don't like, you will be banned very quickly. So no racism, no heavy swearing, and obviously no flaming of other members, anything like that. You'll get banned right away. How many spaces? How many spaces is your tabs in JSON files? I haven't done a lot of JSON files in my development for this. JSON, let me take a look. Let me get the JSON file for my configuration. Where is it? JSON, app settings.json. Tabs. Mine is what? 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh, no, it's 2. Mine looks like 2 spaces. Actually, hold on a second, I gotta look something up. Options. Text editor. JSON. JSON. Tabs. Mine's 2. Mine is actually set at 2. Because as you know, Julian always does things differently. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Trello board. I'm familiar with Trello board. I'm actually... sadly, my workday beckons. All right, guys, I gotta get back to work. I will catch you guys. Hope everybody has a good day, and we will keep keeping on. Well, I think the Epoch thing is not really necessarily going in the right direction, but personally, I don't think they're really going in the right direction. But I do think they'll hopefully figure it out. But I think it's going to take some time. I think we're looking at months before they get any kind of a stable environment. So. Yeah, I might stream later tonight. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm pretty tired. I only got like 4 hours sleep last night, so I'm pretty tired. So I'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a good one. Peace out.